Hello, my name is Anat Baniel. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this overview DVD of the Anat Baniel method for children. In this DVD, you will see 15 different children with the different categories of disability. Each child we've edited down to 2 minutes with a voiceover by me. The work is done both by myself and by some of the practitioners I've trained. Today, there are roughly 200 Anat Baniel method practitioners. Most of them are situated in the United States, but there are a few in Israel, in Egypt, in Singapore, and a few in Europe. I would like to take just a moment to tell you a little bit about the Anat Baniel method for children. This method is scientifically based. It is primarily based in the understanding of what the brain requires in order to form new patterns and new configurations of action. So when we get a child with special needs, we do not try to cure that child. We are not a medical approach, but rather a learning-based approach. No matter what the condition of the child, we always look to see if we can find a way to communicate with that child and that child's brain to help it form new patterns that will help the child get past its own limitations. I have identified 9 basic requirements, which I call the 9 essentials, that when the brain is presented with those essentials, it gets the information it needs in order to begin forming patterns very quickly and very efficiently. And with children, it is done even faster than with adults. The first and most fundamental essential is what I call movement with attention. Movement helps the brain both grow and organize. And we do the work in such a way that the child notices what happens to it. Even an infant that is a day old begins paying attention to the sensations that they get through the movement. As you will see when you watch the children on this DVD, the changes happen sometimes so rapidly that it looks like almost miraculous or as if they didn't have the difficulty to begin with. With other children, the process is much longer. But in each and every session, we look for the child to acquire a few new patterns. That means for that brain to always be creating new possibilities that helps the child move into its future. So we are not very focused on the limitation, but we are focused on what the child can move to do. And over the 30 years of my work with thousands of children and the many practitioners now that do this work, we have discovered that over and over again, this approach basically absorbs a great degree of limitation and allows the children to have fuller and fuller lives and more successful lives. So now let's get to the actual children. Thank you. This is Eli. He's 5 months old and was referred to us by Dr. Woodard, a pediatrician, who just diagnosed him with a cerebral palsy. His hands are most of the time in his mouth. He never rolled on his belly before. And here very lightly, you see he already rolls on his belly. This is Marcy Lindheimer, an ABM for Children practitioner. Now look how the child listens to himself and feels his own body, and there he will push himself in his own initiative. We do not impose on the child. We look for the child's brain to recognize what is going on and initiate their own movements. Eli had a severe scoliosis in his lower back from birth. A few weeks after we started working with him, the spine got straight, and look at his hands got very free. And here he initiates crawling on his own. His left side is still a little bit more spastic, but still he can manage movement with it very, very well. And here he's just happy, which is nice to see. We don't impose on the child. Here with a very light touch, I helped him come on his hands and knees, and I help him bend the left leg, but when he straightens it, I won't insist because we don't impose. We look for the child to recognize what they're doing and to initiate movement like all healthy children do. And look here, that's an example of that. This is Tim. He was 8 years old when I began working with him. We do not have video of the initial lessons, but he couldn't even lie flat on the table. He was not able to talk. After the first 2 lessons, his back and chest and breathing improved so much that he began talking non-stop, and his mother, a veterinarian, jokingly asked if I can take it back. Here you see him. He has developed remarkable capacities and organization in the gravitational field. I'm actually instructing him what to do, and he's following it. Look here, he's sitting, and how beautifully, and he corrects the head when it goes sideways. Here I'm giving him instructions to take his leg behind, and look how well he follows it. He couldn't even sit up when he was first brought to me, and obviously had a huge improvement. He's a very intelligent boy, so I give him lots of verbal instructions to enhance his awareness of his own body. In a minute, I'd let you listen in to a bit of the lesson and how I communicate with Tim. Go down to put your feet, look to find the floor, not wait for it to be first cool. That's it, excellent. Push up with the belly forward, just like you did on your knees. That's right. And put your feet, look to find the floor. That's right, and push forward with your belly. Spread your leg, put both legs down, spread it. That's it, and push the belly forward. This arm too. Push. That's good. Now keep pushing me. Fantastic, now keep pushing me. Keep pushing me. Push me. Hey, both arms, push me. Hey, you forgot the arms. Hey. And now you can see how his lower back is working so much better. He didn't even know he had a lower back when he came to me. So all the therapy that was done with him really, to a great extent, did not do much. Look how quiet he's here, how much he can do, and in a minute you'll see what Tim can do now. You see, he simply knows how to stand up, and he walks on his own. Quite remarkable. Your very first lesson with us, right? Okay. Linda. Oh, Linda Wilson. Oh, great. Okay, what I would do. Excellent. And now don't try to straighten it, okay? I'm going to keep it just as it is. We're going to try and do a movement you're not used to doing, which is this and this. Excellent. Gradually, and then she can take the eyes same direction, but tiny movement, because you don't want this to lift off very much, and until this starts differentiating. Okay. Dominique is 14 years old, very intelligent girl, and I immediately realized that she had no idea about her lower back. Her brain never got connected to her lower back. She's never walked independently. Here, after her first session with a trainee in the practicum, look, she's feeling how to shift the weight and then how to apply her lower back so she can actually stand up on the leg. People watching this actually were crying because this girl never walked on her own, and she can walk with a walker, and it was actually miraculous, the amount of change. Here she's walking in by herself without a walker for the first time in her life. After that one lesson from a trainee, who here is trying to get her to feel. That's her practitioner back in Arizona, who is in my training program. It's going to be very easy. There you go. And now. And now slouch. Okay, uncross your legs. She can do it. Uncross your legs, sweetie. There you go. Push the belly out and imagine you're on your feet. No, you're pushing back don't push against my hand. That's it. Throughout the first 14 years where Dominique got therapy, the focus was on the muscles and on their spasticity, the legs. And what we did with her was really get her to feel what was going on and begin differentiating, creating new possibilities in her brain. And she responded with such speed that I believe had she gotten to us or gotten this kind of work and approach when she was 3 months old or 6 months old, she would be walking freely today. Here, just after 3 sessions in class, mostly with the trainees, she has, for the first time in her life, the sense of what it means to be upright. It's not 100% there, but it's a huge improvement in hardly any time at all. Yakim is a 10-year-old French boy with athetoid CP that Joseph saw for the first time. Incredible limitations, but a very intelligent boy. His father is using some kind of reading device, and Yakim is using his eyes. Here you can see that he cannot lie quiet, his legs obviously crossed, but like Tim was when he got to me first, he doesn't know how to respond to the gravitational field properly. So he has really no control at all, or hardly at all, of his movements. Lying on his stomach is almost unbearable for him. So here in my lesson, I've gradually done a work with him so that a lot of the chronic contractions stopped, the brain stopped making those contractions. Now Yakim never, especially in his stomach, turned his head to his left. And here, by what I'm doing with his pelvis and helping his spine twist, he himself spontaneously turned his head to the left, which was quite remarkable. The arms are still quite stiff, but it's a look at the movement now in his spine and chest and pelvis, which he had never, ever experienced in his life before. And if at age 9 he can respond so quickly, imagine what he could have done when he was 3 months old or 6 months old or a year old if he had gotten this kind of work. It would have looked a lot more like Eli, that was able to crawl. And here he's following on his belly. He's could not lie on his belly. It's really very uncomfortable. And now watch how for seconds he'll go back, but he has a better feeling of how to carry his head, and look how free now the hand and the arm have become and how calm the child became. We have not stopped the recording yet, and look, his thumb is moving a little bit, and he feels himself in a whole new way. It's a calm brain. This is Kai. He's 9 months old here. That's his first lesson with me. And he has cerebral palsy and torticollis dystonia. And incredibly stiff anytime he tries to do anything, and the jaw gets very, very tight. I'm gently trying to feel what he can do and how he responds. And obviously the nervous system has a very powerful, rigid, compulsive pattern, which has the name of torticollis dystonia, and looking to see if he can start feeling a little more ease in the movement in his back, so he has more say in what's happening with his head and those violent spasms. Here he went into a spasm, it's painful, so he starts to cry, and I distract him, and that stops the spasm. Here, he's a year older. He got some lessons in between. They live far away in Northern California. And this is Marcy again. And you can see from the work with Sylvia Liner-Shordyke and a few other practitioners, whenever the mother can get him for lessons, she does. But look how the chest is free, how the child is calm. And probably I would like you to pay mostly attention now how he listens internally. That is when the learning is occurring. That is when the change is happening. And the children feel very comfortable. Now Marcy very gradually is getting him to feel. In a minute you'll see, feels until he's ready to bend his leg, and then the other one. And he's cooperating with her, and then she gets him to push. And she's actually telling him to push himself. And you see the child, he's delighted. He feels what he's doing. And he doesn't get much spasm in the neck while he does it. And look at how calm and how beautifully he sits here and how happy he is. There's a long way to go, but the changes are quite remarkable. This is Isaac. He's 6 months old. This is after I've seen him for a few lessons. He had a meningitis at a month old that they believe he got at the hospital, and then they discovered hydrocephalus at 2.5 months old, and they put a shunt in his brain. You can see here he doesn't know how to roll over, and when he does, he doesn't know how to lift his head off. You can see that he had torticollis with the top of the head going over to his right. and couldn't roll over. When I saw him first, his hands were fisted all the time. Here he starts opening them a little bit. He actually started opening them after the very first lesson. And look here, he is already able to roll on the belly and bring the head up. And Isaac was learning very fast, but the torticollis took a little while to clear. And as you can see, very quickly, Isaac began reaching out for objects, but the hands are still spastic, the fingers are still spastic, and Isaac was gone for 2 months because the shunt failed. So here I see him again after the surgery, and you can see that it's easier for him to follow an object to one side, and I'm giving him time to try and reach over to the left, and then once it's established in his brain, it's more likely he will do it to the other side, to the right, which is the less likely side for him to turn his head, and you can see he dropped it. I continue working with Isaac. Here's his twin sister, and look that they're not that different from one another anymore in the way they roll over. So Isaac was starting to catch up. The mother was told not to expect him to do well, and look how his hands are more open, his ability to sit and move the head in space gets very clear, the wrists are free. And here I'm doing some work on his lower back, and he starts crawling, which he was starting to do that week or the week before. But getting up is still very precarious. Again, the mother was told by the neurologist that he will never walk, or he will have a bad posture and never walk well and be very spastic. And as you can see, everything I do is really trying to get Isaac's brain to recognize what he needs to do in order to execute his intentions. And here it's much easier for him to get up. Really, every lesson there was very, very clear progress. But here we're looking at Isaac a year later, so it didn't all happen in one day, but everything he learned to do, he did so well. And of course the boy is so intelligent, he's playing. He's not talking here yet, so that was another thing the mother was told, that he might never speak. So it was very traumatizing for her because she kept hearing what he will not do. My contention all along was, since he can learn to do each single thing so well, he has a nervous system that's capable of organizing action in such exquisite quality, it's only a question of time. Here he walks independently for the very, very first time in his life at an end of a lesson. Most people, if they didn't know that anything was the matter with Isaac and didn't know his age, would think that he's a perfectly healthy, normal child, which he is. The only thing is, he took a little longer to develop given his traumas. Without this work, he could have very well ended up having the limitations, or many of the limitations he was predicted to have. Many were concerned that Isaac will never talk. Again, he got to talking much later.
Oh, you are so strong.
And it's too heavy.
It's too heavy? Can you drag it? Can you move it on the floor? That's right. Good for you. You see how strong you are? You don't have to pick it up. You can drag it.
Obviously, he can talk, but also he's incredibly intelligent. And if you just watch how he's going to figure out how to push the chair forward, you can see that this child really knows what he's doing, and he's going to have a very bright future. Today's limitations are nothing if he continues doing the work.